Casey, let's start with you playing netball in school. What position did you play and what team, and how did you start netball?
Yes, I started playing, I think about the age of 7. I was a goalkeeper
Really?
yes, I started as a goalkeeper until that time standard 5, so it's now grade 7.
Yes.
Grade 7, I moved to goal attack, and then
Okay.
I got my provincial colors on goal defense. And
Really?
I remember, yes, and then that coach moved me to a goal shooter. So from there, I just played goal shooter, goal attack.
Okay. And do you prefer goal shooter? Is it more stressful?
Yes, I prefer goal shooter more than goal attack. It's not just about the moving, but I just feel more comfortable inside the circle moving out than going into the circle from outside.
Okay, we'll come back to goal attack later because it's going to come up in one of the other questions.
I started playing goal shooter from grade 8, and then I played at our under 14 team, and then I was the reserve for our first team.
Oh, okay. Did you pretty much make all the A sides, and when did you start playing provincial sides?
I started playing under 13 provincial. Me and one of my best friends, we made history in our primary school. We were the first to play in a provincial team.
Really?
Yes, and since then, in under 14, I played in the under 16s. Those days you could have played in an age group higher than yourself. Now you can't do that anymore. But yeah, I played since under 14. I played under 14, 15, and under 16. I played provincial under 16.
Okay.
And then as well as under 17 and under 19. And then when I was 15 and 16, I played for the South African under 16 team. And then under 17.
Was it tough to not make the team under 19?
Yes, I think if I have to think back of my biggest disappointment, every sports person has disappointing moments that stands out and where you have learned your biggest lesson, stuff like that. And I think for me, that was in my matric year under 19. I think that was actually the first year I really worked extra hard and put in extra sessions just to make the SA under 19 side.
Yeah.
And that year, I didn't make the side. I didn't get chosen for the SA side. I remember I went home. Our school team were actually very good. So we still had to go play the Noordval. And for 2 weeks, I didn't go to netball training at school. So one of my friends and my coach that stage, they came to see me at my home. And she said, listen, we need you. You have to come play now. We need to still prepare for this. And I remember my dad telling me that if you stop playing now, you will always be defeated by hardships, disappointments and stuff. But if you stand up now and you work through this and you learn out of this, you get better and you get stronger. So I went to training, and, netball is my life just as it is yours. I went back, and that year we went to Noordval and we played against Appies in the final for 3rd and 4th place. Yolandi Brimmer at that time was the shooter for the Appies team. And yes, and I remember that it was our center pass, and they just fed the ball from the center third to me. And we got a goal. And then it was Affie's center pass. They fed the ball to Brimmer. She could have jumped so high. And it was literally like that, me and Brimmer. And I think we won by 1 or 2 goals. So, but that was really a big thing for me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to play because of that. Yeah, that was a big thing.
The same thing happened to me in grade 11. I remember playing in Waterkloof. My whole team made the Gauteng team, and I was the only player that didn't make it. And I read a quote the other day, and it says something like, just because you work hard doesn't mean you guaranteed that you'll get into the team.
Yeah,
It guarantees you
definitely.
that you'll get an opportunity to compete. And
Yeah.
sometimes we take that opportunity for granted, but yeah, like you mentioned, you really wanted it and you worked extra hard. And
The first time I actually wanted it and I didn't
yes,
get the team. Yeah.
exactly. And I feel like youngsters nowadays, sometimes they kind of get it easy, but obviously sometimes you really work hard. It's not like it's just going to fall into your lap, and there's still going to be disappointments. There's still no guarantees that you're going to make the team or that everyone's going to believe in you.
You know, you don't learn out of the easy stuff.
Hmm.
We get better and we learn out of the difficult stuff and the disappointments, and that's how you learn on what you should go do better and work harder at. And I think, and that's what I also try to do with my kids at school. If there's a challenge, or if something hard, you know, you're playing a hard game, or
Yeah.
an opponent that you don't like, or you can't play against that person, don't see it as a problem, you know, see it as a or don't see it as a challenge, see it as a opportunity to get better and to learn and to see what you're capable of or what you need to go do. And I
Yeah.
think for me as well, at a very late stage in my life, I actually changed my perspective on that to make the challenge an opportunity. And if you look at it in that way, and that's why sometimes I can't wait to get on court, because it's an opportunity to try something new, or
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, I just want to go on court now.
Bring the strapping, bring the shoes. Yeah, it's actually amazing to think that yeah, through hardships you actually learn almost more. Okay, Chris, let's go to you wanting to be a Protea. Was it a dream from a very young age?
Yes, I think from a very young age, I just loved playing netball. And I remember in our primary school, no, it was in our secondary school, I think it was
Yeah.
grade 9,
Okay.
Irene Van Dyke was a speaker at our school.
Oh, okay.
And at that stage, I mean, I was playing only goal shooter for a year or so, and
Yeah.
then this amazing player got to our school, and she
Hmm.
spoke to us. And I think since then, I really, really wanted to play for the Proteas. I wanted to be
Okay.
Irene Van Dyke. You know, she was my
Yes.
idol. And she, by then she was still playing for South Africa.
Okay.
And I think every single decision from there on, I made for netball.
Sure.
Even my whole family, every decision, you know, my mom got a bonus every March when it was her birthday. So I knew in April I'm going to get my new tackies for the season.
Oh,
And
shame.
so yeah, no, I think since then, yeah, every little decision was about netball.
It's crazy. It becomes such a big part of your family, and it doesn't
Mm.
only influence yourself, it influences everyone. And how important is a good support system?
I think very, very important. You know, our family is very well, not the whole family, but my brother and my dad, they were very sport driven as well. They did. My dad was a wrestling coach. He was my shot put coach. My brother did every single sport you can think of. So with the netball, my dad stopped coaching my brother in the wrestling. He was a SA wrestling coach. And I think with regards to my brother, he learned a bit about not pushing someone to the point where they don't want to participate anymore.
Yeah.
So I think when it got to me, they were more in a supporting role, and they also loved the netball, and
Yeah.
um, I was good in playing netball, so they also obviously
Yeah.
every parent would like their kid to be good in something.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was everyone just loved the netball, and they supported me so much. I remember my dad and my mom had to work, and even my grandma, in primary school when I after school we had netball practice, and then I went to ballet. So my grandma would put some lunch in for me. It was like this 2-liter ice cream tub full of slop chips, the oiliest slop chips, but I loved it, and a bottle of milk. And then
Oh,
after netball, I would, because the ballet was just right up in the road, but was a very long road. So
yeah.
my grandpa would fetch me from netball, and I would change into my ballet clothes behind in
Oh,
the car. And he
yeah.
would sit there with So I think I had a very, very big support system, definitely.
Yeah. Hopefully your nutrition changed over the years.
Yes, no, it did. It
um,
did.
Chris, the question I wanted to ask earlier was, how difficult is it for you as a coach? I think this is one of the toughest things of being a coach is to the selection part, to call out the names. And there's someone going to sit there and you're not going to call out their name because you know exactly how it feels to be that person
Mm,
whose name isn't
mm.
called out. So is that one of the toughest things for you as a coach, and how do you handle that?
Um, yes, for me it is. And being the head of netball at the high school,
Yeah.
when I with all the teams that we have 18 teams. With every kid that doesn't make a team, I get to talk to the parents if they have a problem. So it's quite a challenge. But I really try to be as fair as possible.
Mm.
You get players, they really, really work hard, but they just don't make the cut. And then I think you need to be able as a coach to, and that's the way I do it, especially with our first team. When I was the coach, there were 2 or 3 players that didn't get selected. So we would have a big squad and then make the squad smaller.
Yeah.
And there would be 2 or 3 that doesn't make the team at the end of the day. I would personally sit with each one of them and, tell them this is why you didn't make the team. This is what you need to go work on. And then obviously motivate them to still keep playing netball in the team lower. But yeah, it's emotional. I would sit there and actually cry with some of them. And then I always just try to motivate them with regards to what happened to me in my life, the matric one, the Protea squad for so long, all of that. So I think if you've gone through it yourself, it's a bit easier to help the kids, to help the players work through it. And then they could see actually from what happened to me. I mean, like you said, you didn't make the provincial team and then there you were the best player in the world.
Yeah.
That's one of the examples I sometimes give them. And then we have players that start off in the 14th scene and when they get matric, they're in the first team. So it's all about your development as well. And I believe for every player, somewhere in your life, the switch just goes on. And then it's like you understand netball and you can play netball. And everybody peaks at a different stage. So I just try and motivate them, but it's definitely hard. I think it's the hardest thing. I hate the beginning of the season when the teams get selected.
Yeah.
Oh, especially when you're head of school's netball.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. I think at one stage in every netballer's career, they have to choose if they're gonna stop playing netball or if they're gonna still pursue their dream. And I think there's a lot of talented players that never really makes it to the Proteas or to really play at a higher level because at that stage they choose to rather give up. So I hope this motivates some of the youngsters to keep on playing. Chrisna, you touched on it just now. You've been in the Protea squad for 6 years. And for 6 years, every time they called out the names, your name weren't called out. How do you keep on telling yourself it's still something to work for? You can still get better. And I mean, at the end, you were one of the most brilliant players in the team. Talk us through that.
I think it's like I said, with every decision that I made was for netball. I remember I wanted to go to varsity only for 3 years and I ended up staying at Pickett for 10, working in between. Let's just say that. But yeah, netball was such a passion for me. And I think that was my drive, was the passion and a dream. And I think if I didn't add that, if that wasn't my drive, because it's been a dream since I was little, and I am a very goal-driven person as well. I just kept going, and I mean, I was still at the age. I remember because my first, the varsity coach was Marlene Wagner, and I remember that she also said that she believed a player's best time, when you thrive is between the age, your peak is between the age of 26 and 30.
Sure.
And by the time I was still trying out, I mean, I made Proteas 2009. So that I think I was 20, late in my 20s.
Yeah.
So I just, and that stuck with me. It was okay. Still going to my prime, so
Yeah.
I can still work. But I just love playing netball. And I think if I even didn't make the team after 6 years, I would have held on until I made that team. So,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of players now, and I know a few that they don't play anymore, but they were so close. And because they did, and I've actually spoken to two of them, because they haven't made the team, they decided that it's not going to happen. But I think it's also the kids of today, they are used to getting something very quickly.
Yeah.
And not necessarily working so hard, because times change. I mean, it's just the way their life now is. I mean, ours wasn't like that, and I think that also stops them from actually going a little bit harder, doing what's necessary to get. I mean, the year I got chosen for the team, I actually worked really, really hard, harder than the other 6 years.
Yes, yes. Do you think you would have been such a great player if you made it like 6 years earlier? Like, or do you think that's part of your growth, that you actually needed to work harder and harder? And, or yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
I think definitely it made me work harder, and I also believe that if you put work in, you get chosen for the team. It's much harder work to stay into the team, especially because you're under, there's so many eyes on you then. But I think, it definitely made me stronger. I would have loved to be in the team earlier, obviously. But I think, everybody's life has a way, and God has a plan with everything. Why the timing is different for each and every one of us. And I think that's just our path. But it definitely made me a stronger, mentally.
Chris, you one of the players that, well, I think the best with trying to figure things out for yourself. I remember you would go and watch videos from stuff you saw on internet or YouTube or even from overseas games, and then you would come to training. You like, okay, stand here. I want to try this. I'm going to roll here. I'm going to step there, and then I'm going to shoot.
Yeah.
And then you would try it, and you would let us train it in or help you with it, and then you would actually do it on court. And I've never seen someone in our country do things like that. Is that where you decided you want to be a coach, or where did that part come into your play?
I'm not really sure, actually. I just, for me, it's about giving back. I don't think you were in 3 different generations of Protea, if I can say it like that. And you know how hard we work to actually get netball on the map in South Africa, to open the doors. And the team, the previous World Cup team, they just took it further. But I think that's where the passion of netball that I have, and because I ended up at a high school, I mean, it's an obvious thing is to go coach, but to give it back, and if I knew some of the stuff at school that I learned only later on, even while being a coach, yes, I think that would have been the best. So what I try to do now is just to try and teach them earlier on what it's about. If you really have a dream, try and work for it, especially because the kids don't do that. Well, not all of them anyway. So I think coaching was just the obvious thing. On your body at a stage, you need to realize you can't play anymore. Maybe someone thinks that's where I am at the moment, the critics. But I think it's just normal to go, if you have a passion for netball, then you go into coaching or umpiring.
Yeah. What I really love about you is how you would work it out for yourself. And I remember obviously playing with you, but if something didn't work, we would try and get a solution. And it kind of feels like that lacks in our country with youngsters nowadays, that they almost don't want to think for themselves. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's just the way kids grow up at the moment. They are being spoon-fed, and But I know in the way that I coach, I try to give my players lots of options for one scenario, and they need to go and feel what works for them.
Yeah.
I remember when we trained with Jenny last year with the Jaguars, I did something in the circle, and then we had to redo it. And she asked, just wait, just do that again. And I'm like, I'm not sure what I did.
Yeah.
I
Where
can't
did the
really go
defeaters
back.
stand?
Yeah, because you know, I react on what's happening next to me, and I think that's what we need to teach the players. You need to feel the court. As
Yeah.
soon as you, sometimes you get to do an instruction, and but you the one on court, and you can feel that, okay, this is not working. I'm not saying don't do what your coach is telling you to do, but we need to try different stuff as well. Otherwise, you just stay in this little box. And you know, I love that as a player, you need to do different kinds of stuff all the time, so that your opponent doesn't know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I remember one year at Picker, Sandra Duplessis was our coach, and she loved tricks, you know,
Yes.
all this little stuff that she saw everywhere. And for warm up, we would always do the same thing. But I was so frustrated because we never got enough time to practice something in. It was dribble the ball or stand on one leg on a cushion or whatever. But I was struggling with some of the stuff, and I wanted time to do it. And she said, it's not necessary. If you're going to do it every day, even if it's for 5 minutes, you will get it. And she also said, because I remember Marlene said, a shooter should get the ball. When you get into the circle, doesn't matter, your job is to shoot. And I still prefer that, because it's much more hard work to pass the ball out and get it again in a better position. So you already have the ball in a circle, just shoot the ball.
Yeah.
But then Sandra came and she said, but you can't just do that. You need to sometimes play the ball out, or you know, play yourself close or whatever, because then your defender is gonna wonder, okay, what you're going to do next? Are you going to shoot? Are you going to play? Are you going to? So I think to combine that also helped me to feel on court when to do what. I think we should teach our players a lot of options for one scenario, and then let them decide, okay, this is going to work for me and this is not going to work for me, and then maybe just help them in picking the right one, or the one that's going to work the best.
Yeah, we want them to, in a sense, be unpredictable, and if it doesn't
Yes.
work once, to like adapt.
Yeah. So that's like my coaching style is not a 1 year type of coaching style. I'll get a team this year and we'll necessarily be this great team. I think the way that I coach, to get players, you know, to think for themselves, so that they have a lot of skill, but they need to know when to do what skill. That for me is the best way. And I mean, then you get players that can think for themselves, players that can initiate something on court, or, you know, take control of something. And then, I mean, that's also where your confidence comes from.
Yeah. And isn't it the most rewarding when they actually think for themselves on court, and you sit next to the court and you're like, wow. Light bulb. Chris, if I think about Commonwealth Games, we've shared a lot of times. You were my roommate, and I'm thinking of Commonwealth Games, and I just need to share this story because people won't know this, and it's part of netball's history. Is I would be in the, okay, so we stayed in a village with Commonwealth Games, and the place where we strapped, like you had to walk out of our house and then you walked into the strapping room. It was a small room where the doctors were and the physios were. And then we would strap there, and then we would get our bags again, or have a meeting with Elise, and then we would go to court. And then you would be in our house and you would call me over if there's a spider anywhere in the room. Even though I was strapping, I would come and kill the spider. Do you still have a big fear for spiders, or have you outgrown that?
I will burn down my house if there is a spider that I can't get out. But I just have to say, I remember it was hot. It was a hot day,
Yes.
and you wanted to open the window, but my bed was just underneath the window.
Yeah.
And just outside the window was this spider. There was a lot of spiders, and I closed that window. So I was sweating as well, but I didn't want to open it. No, I hate spiders. My sister sent, just for a joke, the other day, she sent me a picture of a spider or something, and I'm not lying. When I saw the picture, I threw my phone on the floor.
Ooh. Okay, but that's the
I
only thing
can't
you're
do
scared of. Luckily, you're not scared of the defender, so that's okay. Chrissy, another memory that pops into my head is World Cup 2011. And I think this was a really tough tour for you. First of all, we have to start with the socks. I'm not sure why you were on laundry duty every time. How did that work? Who was your roommate?
No, if you get to socks and World Cup, I can remember me, you, and Zaki sharing a room.
Yes, yes.
And tumble dryer. It didn't dry everything, and we didn't have that many coins. So with the socks and stuff, it didn't dry. And I still have a photo. I need to go look for it. Where you're standing, me and Zaki's lying on our bed, and the whole side of the room is all of your socks, just everywhere, sports bras and socks, and
trying to get it dry on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, but on the more serious note of that tour, 2011 World Cup, we've spoke about it before. I think it was kind of a really tough tour for you. Yeah, maybe just share your thoughts on that.
Yes, I think the build up to World Cup for me was a bit difficult with regards to my confidence. I don't know even if you know about this, but before World Cup, we were playing in the National League. I can't even remember what it was called, but and I remember there was one game that I really struggled, and we were already the team for World Cup. And after this one game, Tanny Lee's phoned me and she said, "Listen, they are worried about my playing ability." Or I don't even remember what the words were. So they're getting another shooter in to come into camp. And I mean, that for me was already like, okay, but, I had one bad game because all the other ones was good. And I remember, so for a few sessions, I would play songs in my car. I've got these specific songs, and I would just drive from Centurion, Pretoria. It's 20k, so in the traffic, you have a lot of time to listen to music. I would put that music so loud and sing these songs and eventually, okay, the team got picked, and it was World Cup. So I was struggling a bit with my self-confidence, and then at World Cup, I was starting line. I haven't been starting line for a few games in the team. Claudia was there, and for me, it was always a big confidence thing. If you're starting line, you feel confident. If you're not, you would think, but why? What am I not doing right, or something like that? And for a few games, then I was starting line after some of our camps. So our first game came, and it was Jamaica. And I played 2 quarters. And for me, I felt it was going good. For me, I felt, it wasn't bad. And I got taken off court. And so for 2 quarters, I sat on the bench, and I didn't really know why. So our next game was Botswana. Or I don't know if I'm changing the 2 games around, but anyway, so one of the games was Botswana, and I also only played 2 quarters, and then I came off. And for me, I thought, okay, well, it wasn't that bad. So we played Singapore, and I didn't play Singapore at all. I didn't play that game. Then we went into the quarterfinal, which was New Zealand. Yeah, and I didn't play that game. So it's a World Cup. Out of 4 games, I only played, 8 quarters. So I was wondering on, but why, so obviously your confidence is going to drop. This is the first tour that my parents are actually there. They've never been at a tour with me. So this was the first time, also the first time my mom and dad went overseas together, all of that kind of stuff. And now I'm not playing. And we've been away from home for a month. So, all of that stuff gets into your head. And then we got to the semi-final, which was Northern Ireland. And I didn't start that game. So Claudia started the game. And then they struggled a bit on court. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go on court. I'm ready to go on court. And then half time, what happened is Vanessa, which was actually at that stage mostly a goalkeeper, but she can also play goal shooter. But then she was put on goal shooter, where they still struggled. And I mean, I'm a goal shooter and I'm still sitting on the bench, and I didn't play that game at all. So my confidence was totally down the dumps. I think it was a World Cup, but with regards to that, my the emotional stuff around everything, the confidence around everything, it was my worst tour, I have to say. But then, I played in the final against Malawi. My confidence was really bad. I didn't actually start the game. If I can remember correctly, Claudia started on shooter and Marika on goal attack. And then Amanda got hurt. So Zuki was put on keeper. Marika went to wing attack, Claudia went to goal attack, and I went to goal shooter. So I think I played 3/4 of the final. I think my goal percentage was like 67%. Of course, my confidence was just totally down the dumps. But if I look back now, there's a lot of stuff I would have wanted to be different. But it's part of your journey. So, and it makes you stronger, especially when it comes to benching. And I can give a lot of advice to my players when they need to bench. Like I said, if you've gone through it yourself, it's easier to help someone else. But I think that was a bad tournament for me.
What advice would you give yourself if you could for benching?
I still don't love benching at all. I hate it. I want to be on court. But so, but no. I think if you're on the bench, you need to be the best bench player. Even with the person that's playing in your position, listen when they come off time and the coach is speaking to that player who's on court in your position. You still need to listen. You don't know what's going to happen, when you're going to have to go on court. And I mean, if that player, I remember with the Jaguars, we played, I can't remember if it was last year or 2017 when I played for them. Ina Marie was the other goal shooter, and she was on court. And I was waiting to go on court. I can't even remember who we played, but she played so brilliantly. And at the end of the game, I didn't play, but she was man of the match. And I actually was so proud of myself because I was so happy for her. I mean, I can't expect to go on court for a player who was player of, man of the match. Because why must she come off court? So I think for me, that was also very nice. But if I haven't been on the bench for quite a while, I wouldn't have progressed to that person being happy for someone in my position playing. And, when Lenice came into the Proteas, this new player, a younger player, a fitter player than me. And then I was happy not to feel intimidated. I remember we had a session because she was quite a standing shooter, and I was standing behind her and helping her on when to lead out of the circle, as we train. And for me, your previous question with regards to the coaching and stuff, I think that also is where I saw, there's something else when it comes to netball, not just playing. I actually got that light bulb just now.
But I'm glad we can do this for you then.
Yes, thank you very much. No, but I think you need to learn how to bench. I don't like benching, but it's something everybody needs to do. It makes you also a stronger player.
Yes,
and a better teammate.
Yes, I kind of feel like you don't want someone to want to be on the bench, because that would be weird.
No.
But you get players that can come off a bench and make a big difference. And always when I coach, I kind of tell the players that I'll tell you when you need to doubt yourself, but if I take you off, it's not
Mhm.
because I don't believe in you. It's just because the team needs
Yeah.
something different or I need a change up. Because
Mm.
immediately, if you take someone off court, they start thinking in their own minds and they start doubting. And
Mm.
to get that player
Mm.
motivated and her self confidence back up is really difficult, especially if you're playing more than one game in a tournament. Yeah, that's the difficult part because we all go into our own heads.
You know, I had a team where a first team a few years ago. One girl, she could play any position, mostly center, and I had a center player.
Yes.
But I knew that I couldn't play this one player from the bench
Yeah.
because then she wouldn't do anything. So I went and I told that, the center player that I most of the time I will start with this player
Yeah.
because you can come off a bench and
Yeah.
make a difference, but she
Yeah.
can't. And she understood that. So every time she came on court, and she did played every game,
Yeah.
she did what she had to do. She wasn't a flashy player, but she was such a safe, nice, confident player. And I think because I had we had that communication, and she
Yeah.
knew it's not because she wasn't good enough,
Mm.
but actually because she was good enough
Yeah.
to be the starting line or the bench player coming on to make a difference.
Yeah.
I think that's also necessary, is to have that communication
Mm.
with your players so that it can help their confidence. And I think that's maybe something that I didn't have when I struggled with my confidence, or not, let me just say, not had yet.
Yes. Yes.
Because later on, when we went on, that changed.
Yeah. I agree. I think honesty is such a big thing, and you kind of want to be honest with yourself. But I think it's good if the coach can also be honest with you. You know, if you have a bad game, yeah, you don't have to lie about that. Chrissy, talking about good games and bad games, how tough is it to like miss the first shot, maybe miss the second shot, and then what do you have to do with your mindset to come back from that and have a good rest of the game? You've had one of those experiences. Maybe just talk us through that.
Yes, I actually learned that also very later in life while being a coach. We played in the quad series. Let me just start off by saying this. When Karen Strauss was the coach, she usually said she just waits for my first shot of every game. If that shot's missed, then she knows it's going to be, oh my goodness, a game. But if that shot's in, she knows it's going to be a good game.
Yes.
And when she told me that, my first shot was an issue for me because of what one person said.
Yes.
And so when it came to the first shot of every game, it's like it's this thing. So as soon
Pressure.
as I started, yes, and I think that's where my training also changed. When you train your shots and you need to do 10 shots or whatever, and the first one miss, you're like, okay, wait, now I'm starting, and you start over. But you
Yes.
don't get to start over in a
In
game.
a game.
And we actually had one of those games when we had the quad series against England. We played, I missed my first shot,
Okay.
and I think they got the rebound and the ball went back, but we got the ball back again. And we got the ball in the circle, and I missed again my second shot. And I think with regards to the training that you have to keep on going, I didn't miss a shot again up until the fourth quarter,
Sure.
more or less the end of the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And my percentage, I'm not one to go for a goal percentage,
Yes.
but I
Yes.
remember with that game, it was in the 90s. And I think you need to realize that even if you miss the first two shots, there's still a whole game to go. You can still have a good game. And sometimes I would have played excellent, but I didn't shoot like I wanted to. And then I would have felt like it wasn't a good game. But I actually played good. Yeah, I think just the mindset on when you train and when you do your goals is to, and this is what I learned too late. When I started playing in 2017 for the Jaguars again,
Yes.
I only started with this, that it's about one shot at a time. You know, you can't do anything about the ones you've missed.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about the ones that's coming. And I know what helped me with that. And I remember it was in the final of that 2017. It took so much of my focus not to look at the scoreboard.
Yep.
Because if you're going to be 10 goals ahead, your focus is not going to be the way you want it to, because it's okay if I miss this one, you know, we're still 9 ahead. But if you are one down, it also puts a lot of pressure, because it's like, I have to sink this ball.
Yep.
But if you can get into the mindset the whole time, I've only this one goal. It's 3 seconds that you need to focus, you know, just this one. Just this one, just this one.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, the score will sort itself out. Like I tell my kids, if you do everything that you are supposed to do, and you know, you give your best, but you still lose, what else could you have done?
Yeah. If you looked at the scoreboard, that wouldn't have changed anything in what you've done.
No. So I think, yeah, it's the way you train. Don't, you know, begin again with the set that you are doing, even though you missed your first 4. You can still get your 6 out of 10 or whatever. And then also to get the focus on just this one, just this one, just this one. Yeah, and I mean, I've out of experience now that it works. It really works. And don't look at the score. And for me, actually, as a coach, sometimes it's actually a bad thing, because the kids come off time and I don't even know what the score is. I just want them to do what I tell them to do. And then later I'm like, and they go back on court, what's the score? Are we in front? Are we behind? And then sometimes I will shout next to court like a palooka, but actually we're 10 ahead. But yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yes. Chris, I spoke to Amanda, and we decided that you are like good wine, and you get better as you get older. And sometimes it feels to me like players experience things, but they don't really use it. Like they get older, but they don't really get more experience. But I think that this is something that you really use so much, especially coming back, like you said now, with the 2017 final. I think your experience carried through the whole team. Is it something that you are mindful of?
You know, for me, coming back in 2017 and again in 2019, it was actually very, very stressful. 2017, because I've been away from the game. I got married, I got a baby, and then it's like, okay, Chrisna, well, Van Saal's coming back, and everybody's going to expect maybe this. And I didn't know I only played action netball in an extremely good team. So you don't stand out, or because everybody around you are like brilliant players. And you know, men, I play in a mixed team, but when I came back, it took me a few games actually to get into it, and that's why I'm very grateful for Jenny. It was 2017 also. She got me on court gradually, because the physicality from 2014 to 2017 was massive. I wasn't used to that at all. In action, there's more or less little physicality. So for me, I'm very grateful for that. And to be grateful for, as the competition progressed, you know, you get to know the players. I mean, like last year, the youngest player I think was 19 years younger than me.
Sure.
That much. And then there's a little bit more pressure, because if you're the adult between the two of you. So I think with regards to that, it just came naturally, especially because I'm a mom now. And even when I played at Picker, I mean, I was late in my 20s, and then there was 18-year-olds playing in the same team as me. So I think there always were a lot of younger ones than me, where you feel that even though you're not the captain or necessarily the best player, with regards to life experience and age, you know, stuff like that, you just naturally help with
Yeah.
some of the stuff. And for me, it was also, I remember also 2017, you know, that time, if the team that won went to New Zealand, and me and Jenny actually spoke about it before the final, before we knew what was going to happen. And I told her, I don't think I'm going to go to New Zealand if we win. I'd rather let a younger player get the experience, because I didn't know if I'm going to play in 2018 and what. If I look back now, I should have gone and do it. But I mean,
Yes.
it's also just, you know, playing. But last year when I came back again, or after having my second child, still older, I mean, I'm turning, what, 37, 38 now.
Mm.
So it was just, last year was just fun all the way. You remember my first game, I think I was on court like 2 minutes, and then I had to go off because I was like, so, yeah, I wasn't playing good at all. And I know we spoke about it,
Mm.
and you know, you wanted to know, am I okay? How's my
Yeah.
confidence and all of that? And I told you, I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's just more motivation to play better. Where in the past, I would have been like, oh, how am I going to do this? Am I good enough? What? And I think that's also just life experience. You get to know yourself. And I think that also helped. I love playing with Chantal in the circle,
Mm.
because it's just, I don't have to take all the shots. You know, she can shoot. And
Yeah.
for me, it was also like, you see this younger player blossom,
Yeah.
and you can help with that. And sometimes she will message me, especially now with the new season starting, because I had to make a big decision. Am I going to be able to play or not, because
Mm.
of the dates and stuff, and obviously my age. I I just love helping, helping other players
Mm.
to play brilliantly, or to learn something new, or maybe open a few ideas to them, or
Yeah.
yeah, I just love that.
Well, Chris,
Yeah.
I think that's such a great thing about you, and I think it's part of your personality. You just want to help everyone. And I could literally see on court how they look at you and they're like, what should I do? Or should I pass or should I shoot or whatever? But I think not everyone are like that, that they can give back. And I think it's the way you do it. I don't think you let them feel that you need to listen and you like demanding. It's like you're really there just to help. Your faith has always been a big part of who you are, and I think that's what kept you going. Yeah, just talk us through that.
Yeah, I think it's the way I was brought up. Um, and yeah, for my mom and my dad in the support system, I grew up actually very, very poor. And with regards to faith, there were times that we didn't know if we're going to have bread and milk in the house the next day. But God always, He always provided for us. And with the same, with regards to our sports, He gave us our talent, and the only thing that we can do is honoring Him by using your talent, and also to use your talent, especially now. I mean, for me, it's about, you can make a difference on a platform where other people don't get the opportunity to do.
Mm.
If you play for the Proteas, you're on a platform with a lot of eyes on you. So use that, to make a difference, or to inspire. And at the end of the day, that's what my faith taught me.
Chrissy, well, I can honestly say with a very happy heart that you do inspire, and you're such a great person, but also a great player. And it was an honor to play with you. So thanks for what you do for netball, and thanks for sharing it with the youngsters and giving it back.